This is our lesson over Roman Emperor Trajan, who lived from 53 to 117 AD. This is Trajan's rise to power. So during Trajan's early life, there were two main things. In 53 CE, Trajan was born in the town of Seville, and in 81 CE, he served as the quaestor at Gortyn. On the right, you'll see the quaestor is one of the lowest ways that a patrician could serve in the government. During Trajan's rise to power in 96 CE, he was appointed the governor of Upper Germany by Emperor Nerva, and in 97 CE, Trajan was adopted by Emperor Nerva. Then in 98 CE, Trajan took over the empire after Nerva suffered from a stroke. Next is the reign of Trajan. There were many construction projects that Trajan was famous for and made him very popular among the Roman citizens. These all started with his infrastructure reforms. So under Trajan, roads is seen in the top left, bridges is seen in the middle left, aqueducts is seen in the bottom left, and then there was the reclamations of wastelands and the construction of harbors. Some of the harbors that Trajan would have built are modeled in the top right image. Next, we'll move on to the social buildings that were a part of his construction projects. Some were new bathhouses. So a bathhouse that Trajan would have made would have been in the middle right, and then he made hemicycles, which were almost like today's modern mall. There were shops and warehouses on a multi-story half-circle building, as seen in the bottom right of the slide. After his social reforms were his military campaigns that made him popular. He had two main military campaigns during his rule, the conquest of Dacia and the war on the Parthians. So there were two conquests of Dacia. We'll start with the first conquest of Dacia. During the first conquest of Dacia, the Dacian threat to the Roman Empire had to be put down, so the first conquest was launched by Emperor Trajan in 101 AD. After beating the Dacians at multiple battles, and then the Dacians failing a counterattack, they sue for peace with the Roman Empire. This loss cost the Dacian Empire a mass amount of its land. Next, we'll move on to the second conquest of Dacia, which was 3 years later in 105 AD. Despite their first loss in the first campaign, Dacia continued to threaten and pressure the border of the Roman Empire. Emperor Trajan continued to have disdain with them because of this, so he launches a second campaign on the Dacian Empire in 105 AD. This time, the Dacians surrendering is no longer an option. Trajan first meets the Dacian king short of the capital and slaughters him in the battle. After that, he seized the Dacian capital of Sarmizegetusa. After seizing the capital, they looted it. Nearly 500,000 pounds of gold were seized and brought back to Rome from the capital city. From this, we see spoils of war for the Roman Empire. Trajan takes the gold and builds himself a war monument of Trajan's Column. Upon Trajan's Column, there is many scenes depicted of the Roman Empire during Trajan's time, from the building of his construction projects to his military campaigns carved on it. There's over 50 scenes carved up the column. After the Dacian Wars was the Parthian Wars in 114. So initially there was a setting up for the Parthian Wars. War was brought to Rome's eastern front, and from there the Parthians overthrew Armenia and put their own on the throne. This would leave a major threat to the Roman Empire. So Trajan would lead an army east to the nation-state of Armenia and take it back. He would then continue to annex Mesopotamia and the then Parthian capital of Ctesiphon. From here, Trajan builds roads from all of these annexed cities and connects them back to the Roman Empire, which allows them a great advantage in the Parthian War. After setting up for the Parthian War is the war itself. The roads built to Mesopotamia allowed the Romans to attack deep into Parthian territory. When the Mesopotamians revolted in the middle of the Parthian War, the Romans were trapped between them and the Parthians. Because of this, the Romans retreated. On the way out, a Parthian soldier shot an arrow at the retreating army, thinking he struck Trajan, but really struck his right-hand bodyguard. Then there's Trajan's death after this. So for Trajan's death, when he had learned of the Jewish uprisings, he left his army in Syria and fled back to Rome, because as we know, no Roman emperor or general was supposed to march there military on the city. So he left them in Syria and came back to Rome. On his way back to Rome, he fell ill in the town of Selinus and died there in 117 AD. It was random sickness, and some suspect that it may have been a poisoning. After his death, his body was returned to Rome, where it would be cremated, and the ashes would then be buried and spread at the base of Trajan's column. As you can see in the image on the right, Trajan and Trajan's wife's urns are both underneath the column and can actually be accessed today, not by the public anymore. These are my sources.